Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm here at Tom Lee Park again, just enjoying the view. I guess there's a family right here taking photo shoots for a wedding, I guess. It's a small little park named after Tom Lee, an artist from El Paso. Actually attended El Paso High School. He also attended the Art Institute of Chicago. He found work in the 1930s, in Washington, D.C. for the Department of the Treasury. Creating lots of murals for the Department of the Treasury. And then during World War II, he was actually hired by Life magazine to be a war correspondent, war artist correspondent. Well, up ahead of us, there's that's downtown El Paso. Pretty much downtown El Paso was at one point owned by Juan Maria Ponce de Leon, who had up until 1849 when he sold the property to Benjamin Franklin Coons. And at one point that was actually a settlement. It was a small settlement of Franklin. I have already blogged about Benjamin Franklin Coons, but it's relevant to this kind of blog today because I'm going to talk about pretty much 3 different figures that helped settle El Paso in the 1850s. You have Joseph McGoffin, you have Benjamin Franklin Coons, you have Hugh Stevenson. Off in the distance over there to my right, to my left actually, I don't know if you can see it from here, but Concordia is over there. Concordia was a little ranch area, a little settlement, which was actually called the Concordia settlement, which Hugh Stevenson created, he built. Hugh Stevenson moved, to the Las Cruces area by wagon train, and shortly after he settled in El Paso. Look at these beautiful homes here on Rim Road, where Tom Lee Park is located. A very nice, beautiful area. Very nice. I'm in Concordia Cemetery. I was speaking to one of the groundskeepers here, and I found out a very, very neat history of Concordia. And I'll show you in a bit. But first, Concordia is very, very old. It has a long history here. I was actually going to look at this right here. It's supposed to be a map, but I mean, the weather has already eaten it up. This area was settled, by Hugh Stevenson. He had his ranch right here in this area. At one point, there was a military post. That's I-10 right there. I-10, which goes from Santa Monica, California, all the way to Florida. I-10 takes you straight. It's a straight shot all the way through the southern states of the United States. And here we are again in front of John Wesley Harding's grave right here. John Wesley Harding, a notorious gunslinger of the Old West. I haven't said that in a long time. But Hugh Stevenson was a prominent settler here in the El Paso area. At the time, El Paso wasn't called El Paso. It was actually known as Franklin. The main post office had the name Franklin on it. You had different settlements like McGoffinsville, Stevensonsville, or Concordia settlement, or you had the Franklin settlement. So who knows, this city, instead of being called El Paso, it probably would have been called Franklin City, or just Franklin, or the city of Franklin, named after Benjamin Franklin Coons. Just wanted to see my grandparents, visit my grandparents. These other graves right here. It would have been neat if I would have known my grandfather. Born in 1904, I could just imagine the history that he saw, the history that he experienced. My dad tells me a story of the very first time that my grandfather saw an airplane in the sky. I could just imagine people at the time, the things they saw. It would have been neat to live in those days. But like I said earlier, I was talking to one of the groundskeepers here. He told me the certain areas of Concordia, it has a little bit of history. Like, for example, directly right here where I'm pointing at, where all those trees are at, that's like the Jewish area. I guess prominent Jewish families from El Paso, or just in general, they get buried in that area. There's a lot of area. Now right here, we're walking to an area where there's an obelisk. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, off to the distance over there, you can see an obelisk. Well, that area right there told me that that area is the Masonic area in the Concordia, where people, I don't know, Freemasons, I guess, or Masonic, or part of that group, get buried in that area. I'm not saying they all get buried here or there in that little area. I'm sure there are other cemeteries in El Paso where they get buried, but it was pretty interesting. Now there's something else that I want to show. I want to show you El Paso that I'm sure most of you people here in El Paso probably don't know about. And I just found out just right now as I was walking in, and I thought it was really, really cool. As I'm walking to the location that I'm going to show you next, I'm out here like in a little area of Concordia where there's not too many people buried. As you can see, it's pretty much bare from tombstones and graves. But I just stumbled upon this right here. They look like graves. They have no tombstones, no type of crosses made out of wood. I wonder if these are graves. It's just pretty odd the way this little area is shaped. Who knows? The area that I wanted to show you, it's an area that's dedicated to the Buffalo Soldiers. Buffalo Soldiers that were stationed here in El Paso. I spoke to the groundskeeper. Buffalo Soldiers were pretty much African American soldiers that were former slaves during the Civil War that joined the Union to fight with the Union, to fight against the Confederacy for their freedom, for the freedom of fellow African Americans that were slaves in the South, to end slavery. This is pretty neat. And pretty much the groundskeeper, what he was doing today, he was taking down the flags because I guess it's supposed to rain later. But if you're in the Concordia area, or you're eating at the famous Ellen J's over there, a very famous restaurant, you should come see this right here. Plaque right here stating the history of the Buffalo Soldiers. Now there's a plaque right here talking about the nickname of the Buffalo Soldier. It is believed that the nickname Buffalo Soldier began with the Cheyenne warriors in 1867. The black soldiers were ferocious and courageous in battle. Even when outnumbered, out of respect, the Cheyenne referred to these hard-fighting black men as Buffalo Soldiers, reportedly because their hair resembled that of the revered bison. Because the bison was a sacred animal to the Indians, the cavalrymen accepted the title with great pride. The name became a highly respected American legacy. This little area right here was donated by the El Paso Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club. I'm just here documenting this for El Paso, for the people that live here. I'm sure a lot of people that live in the city don't know about this. You know, I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just videotaping this so people can know about this memorial here in El Paso. This memorial that's located in Concordia Cemetery. Right here up to the front, you're gonna see an international bridge. Paso del Norte Bridge heads into Mexico. Old historic Chihuahuita. Chihuahuita was settled by Ricardo Cruzuelas. It's a land grant that he received in 1818. I don't know if Chihuahuita is that old. As you can see, people still live here. This is an actual neighborhood that people still live. You know, people still live here. And that's the fence right there. That fence, the other side of that fence is still the U.S. You can see some concrete pillars that are being built. Now those pillars right there, They're going to be at a Loop 375 freeway that's going to head all the way to West El Paso. You can see there's an American flag. But this is the actual border right there. Beyond that fence is the Rio Grande. The famous Rio Grande that you hear about in Old West movies. Let me just look for a place to park so I can show you the neighborhood. Little park right here on Chihuahuita Street. You know, actually not Chihuahuita Street, but Chihuahuita neighborhood. You know, like I said before, it was settled by Ricardo Brusuelas. Right there, that's a border fence. It's actually, I mean, it's all it is a delay for illegal immigrants to come into the United States. You know, there's a pillar right there that I can't believe how close the freeway is going to be here. That's how close the freeway is going to be here. You know, Loop 375 is going to take us all the way to the west side. You know, but this little neighborhood right here is pretty much over 100 years old. I'm pretty much walking along the Chihuahuita neighborhood. Yeah, these homes right here. Yeah, this is the street, Charles Road and Gil Holguin Street. Right here. Charles Road and Gil Holguin Street. I'm assuming those names are relevant to Chihuahuita. I don't know. Maybe relevant to El Paso. This little area, look at these homes. This is the very first neighborhood of El Paso. Check this out. This is, people still live here. This is an actual neighborhood where people still live. You know, you have to show some respect for the people who live here. See right there? That's the border fence right there. Right there, that's the border fence. You know, like I said before, beyond that fence is our famous Rio Grande that pretty much everybody knows about from watching old Western movies. But this is Chihuahuita Street right here. You're watching history. This is history right here. History that hasn't been lost yet. You know, people still live here. People love this area. The people who live here have pride of their homes. They have pride in their neighborhood. You know, you have to give it up. You know, give a hand clap to the people who live here. You know, who are taking care of their neighborhood. You know, you have Charles Road right there, and you have Alfredo Zubia right there. Those are names. Those are names that are probably relevant to Chihuahuita. You know, this area was the very first neighborhood of El Paso, Texas. You know, settled by Ricardo Brusuelas. You know, but I just wanted to show you El Paso of the history you guys have here. You guys need to be proud of your city. You know, there's a lot of history here. You know, I just showed you the memorial of the Buffalo Soldiers. You know, I talked about Hugh Stevenson, Joseph McGoffin, Benjamin Franklin Coons, who were, because of them, they were prominent figures here that started the settlement of El Paso. They started the settlement here. I had to stop by and get something to drink. It's really hot right now. I think it's over 100 degrees here in El Paso. It's about 4:30. I came down to a familiar area that I've been here before. I blogged about this place, which is San Jacinto Plaza. Like I mentioned before, this area of San Jacinto Plaza was owned by Benjamin Franklin Coons, which he purchased the property from Juan Maria Ponce de Leon in 1849. This whole area here of downtown, to include San Jacinto Plaza, was a ranch, and yeah, it was actually a small little settlement. There was actually a military post here as well. You know, but this was one of the beginnings of the settlements of El Paso. At the time, El Paso wasn't called El Paso. It was pretty much the outskirts of El Paso del Norte, which is now the city of Ciudad Juarez across the Rio Grande in Mexico. But this place wasn't called El Paso. There was little settlements, like I said before. You had Concordia settlement, it was also known as Stevensonville. You had McGoffinsville, which is actually located a little bit east of downtown El Paso. So you have little settlements. Now this place had a post office, which it was named Franklin. So this city could have been named Franklin at one point. There's a man that came to settle his life here in this area before it was called El Paso. And because of him, we owe him the city. He named this city El Paso. You know, he named the city El Paso, and that man's name is Anson Mills. Thanks, man. What do you guys call yourselves?
El Jersey.
El Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay, why El Jersey?
Well, I'm from Jersey, and she's from El Paso.
Oh, okay.
But that's not our actual name. We don't have anything yet. But
are you guys pursuing a career in music, or?
We're just doing it for the music. I mean, if we get like big, I mean, sure, but you know, we're just enjoying music.
Well, you're pretty good, man.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for doing this kind of stuff here in El Paso. The famous Anson Mills building here in El Paso. Anson Mills, like I said earlier before, he settled here in El Paso. He named El Paso, El Paso. At the time, El Paso had no name. The closest to a name was Franklin because of its post office. You know, the Anson Mills building is a historic building located at 303 North Oregon Street in El Paso, Texas. It's located in the original site of 1832 Ponce de Leon's ranch. Anson Mills hired Trust Company architectural firm to design and construct the building of Anson Mills. The Anson Mills building pretty much is still an active building. There's offices, businesses that operate inside the Anson Mills building. Well, this pretty much concludes my blog for today. But before we conclude it, I'm going to take you to a site, the Acme Saloon, where John Wesley Harding was killed. A very famous gunslinger of the Old West. You know, I love that place. I love the story of John Wesley Harding. Hollywood, you should make a movie about him. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment on what other places I should blog about, historical places. Thank you. There it is right there, the famous Acme Saloon, where John Wesley Harding was killed by John Selman Sr., avenging the death of his son, John Selman Jr. Right there, the Acme Saloon. It's actually a store right now for bridals and quinceañeras. But directly in front right there, there's a brown plaque. And that plaque tells the story of John Wesley Harding, of how he was killed. That's it, the Acme Saloon right there. That's the actual building. The Acme Saloon is still up.